Kagurabachi Chapter 20 has landed on our laps, and holy moly, we have got some juicy stuff to cover in today's chapter. We got a Flamebone reveal, which opens up a lot of questions for the universe as it is, but without further ado, I think we just get into the video. So if you like Kagurabachi, if you like Kagurabachi, make sure to like and subscribe. We drop reviews on Kagurabachi here every fucking week. Also, consider joining the Discord. We have a Discord where we have a section just for Kagurabachi among other anime and manga nerds in there, so consider joining that. Anyways, this chapter opens up where we just left off with Chihiro and Hakuri talking about Hakuri's family, the Sazanami, who, as it turns out, are hosting the Rakuzaichi, which is a black market auction that deals in a lot more than just swords and cool items, as we find out within this chapter. It turns out they also traffic humans, which is pretty brutal. They also traffic corpses also at this event, which pieces together why in the previous episode, or the previous chapter should I say, Hakuri was trying to save a little girl from being kidnapped. It's pretty fucking dark. However, Hakuri being brought up within this family here, he thought all of this was kind of normal, but then realized eventually just how fucked up it all is, and has now decided that ending the event is the best course of action to take, hence why he needs Chihiro's help. But it doesn't stop there, because it turns out that the Sazanami family is actually an entire family of incredibly powerful sorcerers who are trained basically from birth or young ages to basically be super strong, and we get a little bit of a glimpse at that kind of strength a little bit later on in the chapter here. But we do get this nice little sequence of events of Takiro here playing on the joke that Chihiro's reaction basically just never seems to change regardless of the situation that it's in, which I kind of like, because even though the world of Kagurabachi is very dark and quite grim, evil sorcerers and human experimentation going on left, right, and center, it exists everywhere. I like that Takiro keeps it a little bit lighthearted with these kind of jokes here. But we also get this moment here where Hakuri asks if Chihiro will help him take down the Rakuzaichi, and mentions how Chihiro wants to steal back the Shinoichi, but he doesn't really know what he wants to use it for, with Chihiro mentioning now how he's scared. And the Shinichi is a sacred blade, which means that everything will ultimately end up in bloodshed, again, which is where we are now treated to this flashback of Sojo, which honestly is nice. I know I've been on the copium that this brother isn't dead here, with the Rakuzaichi selling corpses within this auction here. It does make me wonder if there is a possible chance that he can be brought back. But Sojo being shown here kind of just amplifies just how much damage he actually did to not only Chihiro's body, but also his mental state. Like I mentioned before, and something in the previous reviews here, Sojo and Chihiro were two sides of the same coin. Sojo challenged Chihiro's views on life. However, Sojo pushed Chihiro to a place both physically and mentally that is sticking with him. It has altered the way he perceives everything about the sacred blades. Now, before Sojo, all Chihiro cared about was just simply retrieving the blades, and he didn't really think about the actions and reactions of how the sacred blades interacted with the world around him and the damage that they caused. After Sojo, Chihiro's outlook here has changed. Sojo forced him to realize that how serious these blades actually are and how much damage they can cause. It makes me happy that Sojo is still somewhat present within this story here, because he was way too much of a big character to take out just like that. It was genuinely one of my favorite parts about the first arc. He was a very good, interesting character. However, Chihiro comes face to face with Hiyuki, who is apparently the Kamunabi's strongest fighter, their strongest soldier. And Hiyuki is the wielder of Flamebone the Starving, which is an incredible Elden Ring sounding name, I can't lie. I actually half expected a boss battle health bar to start showing up and playing when this motherfucker rocked up here. But according to Shiba, the Flamebone here is something similar to the Sacred Blades. Now, this in and of itself is quite interesting, because we know the Sacred Blades, they ended the war, which means something before the Sacred Blades must have been dominating the war, and it needed these guys to create the Sacred Blades to sort of turn the tide. Now, in this chapter, we see a little glimpse of what Flamebone can do, and to me, it doesn't feel the same as the sorcery that we've seen before. It doesn't feel similar to the Sacred Blades, even though it's stated to be, it doesn't feel the same. Now, as I mentioned, it sounds like something from Elden Ring. Like, Flamebone seems to be some sort of giant entity. Like, we know Hiyuki was given permission to use Flamebone up to the torso, and we see Hiyuki in this fight. She also asks Rikuo for a hand. Now, at this moment, as that is asked, a giant flaming hand made of bones literally wraps around her arm. So, we We've learned multiple things here within this little segment. 1, Flamebone has a name, which is called Rikuo. And 2, Rikuo is a lot bigger than what we realize, because later on in the fight, Hyuki uses ribs. She asks Rikuo for ribs, and a massive set of ribs just crawl out of the floor. So I'm getting some very, very strong evil magic / Elden Ring vibes from this type of sorcery. However, it is also worth mentioning here that during this fight, both Chihiro and Hyuki are locked in a realm separate from everything else. This sumo dude here mentions how this space is separate from the regular world, and the spell won't dissolve until the match is over. Chihiro tries to talk down the situation a little bit here and tries to defuse everything, but Hyuki just wants all of the fucking smoke, telling Chihiro the Kamanabe has a reason to fight with him, and that's due to the sacred blades here. We get this little insight into Hyuki's personality. She comes across as this fight first, ask questions later type of motherfucker here, but it also seems she's a little bit silly goofy because she's asking Chihiro about Cloud Gouger, but she also forgets what Cloud Gouger is actually called. And Chihiro, he basically says, yo, I broke that sword. But Hyuki says to the sumo guy, yo, is that real? Is that true? And he basically just says, no, he's lying. And Hyuki gets angry, saying, why would you lie at me? Makes me wonder if the sumo dude either doesn't know that Cloud Gouger was actually broken, or he can sense Chihiro is actually bluffing and Chihiro repaired the blade like I speculated a couple of chapters ago. However, Chihiro is still fending off Flamebone's attacks here with only one arm. He's still severely nerfed, bear in mind. Mentioning how Aka barely managed to absorb the attack of Flamebone, and Hyuki continues her attacks on Chihiro, mentioning how Kazane here had lost his right arm from the shoulder down, and how tragedies like this wouldn't have happened if someone wasn't wielding the sacred blades, which is where we see Chihiro flashing back again to Sojo. This man has genuinely tainted the way people look at the sacred blades, and while Chihiro has used them to save lives, Sojo has used them to take them, and as a result, the Kamanabe now just essentially view Chihiro in the same way as they did Sojo, which is someone who is wielding the sacred blades in service for themselves. But as Chihiro is getting pushed back here, we see Hakuri running into the fray and tanking a hit from Flamebone, as Hyuki would have landed this clean on Chihiro's body, which honestly, it surprised me, but Hakuri did mention his family raises the kids to be incredibly strong sorcerers, so even if he doesn't have any talent as a sorcerer, he's definitely got some durability here. But as he's on the floor here, Hakuri shouts to Chihiro, is everything really that complicated? You saved me. And we see Chihiro staring at this dude who's just risked his life for him, which is where the chapter closes out. Honestly, solid chapter all around. I like where everything's going. I like that there's repercussions from the first act and how Takuro is laying up the groundwork for this next arc. It's all come together beautifully for me personally. I like how Sojo's character has had lasting effects and didn't just feel like some sort of cheap throwaway villain for the first arc. I like how he's got lasting effects, and it's something that Chihiro will be wrestling with for a little minute here. It's going to take a while for him to get past the effects of what Sojo did. But anyway, that's everything from me. Let me know what you thought of the chapter in the comments down below. And as always, I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Much love, big fucking kisses. Peace.